Hi there, Greg Swann here from selfadoration.com. I am in Phoenix temporarily. I am between San Ysidro and Houston. I'm hoping to talk to a lot of people in Houston, so this is maybe a little way to say hello to them. I wanted to start with the disclosure that I wear, as a matter of course, a little baby sock like this I wear on my, what people euphemistically call my private parts, on my penis and scrotum. I wear this as underwear. This is all the underwear that I wear. Ladies, if you're looking for the guy to marry, find the one who can do that to a baby sock. This is stretching it out in order to wrap it around the hardware. This baby sock, I have one on right now, is all the underwear that I wear. I do not wear briefs or jockey shorts or any of the other things that men wear as underwear. I am disclosing this fact for a number of reasons, foremost of which is simply as information. If you are a man, you have this thing hanging between your legs that gets chafed all the time. In the winter it's terrible, and in the summer it is beyond terrible. It is the very definition of eternal damnation, is chafing between the scrotum and the thighs. And this little device, put it over everything, solves the problem. It's a little bit of an issue going to the bathroom in public men's rooms, but that's the only real disadvantage to it as far as I can see. So I'm disclosing the fact to you because I think if you're a guy, you might want to consider doing this. But I'm also disclosing it because someday, sooner or later, I might get to undergo the thrill of a strip search from a police department, and I want to have disclosed on video far in advance that I wear a baby sock on my penis and scrotum. It has nothing to do with babies, with children, or even with socks. It is strictly underwear. But I thought it would be useful to bring it up for a third reason, and that simply is alienation. That I don't go to your church. I can't say it enough. I don't go to your church. I don't think the way you do. I don't do the things you do. There's nothing wrong with that, either for me or for you. We get to be different. We get to be who we are. But I am really different from you, and one way that I'm really different from you is that I'm wearing a baby sock on my penis and scrotum. And I don't really care if you approve or don't approve, and I'm bringing it up at the very beginning of this movie to encourage you to go away if that's what you think you need to do. If you think that you can't dare let me be who I am, or talk about who I am, or tell the truth about who I am, then I need you to go away, because there's nothing for you here. There's nothing that I can tell you that will matter to you. So I'm wondering if that alienated everybody or not, and if it didn't, I want to add one little twist to this story. That for years I said, while I was suffering that awful chafing every summer, and I live in Arizona, and you have no idea what summer is like until you've had chafed balls in the summer in Arizona, but I always used to say, as kind of a reaffirmation of my atheism, I would say, if there really were a God, he would have solved this problem. This is really a dreadful design defect in the XY version of genetic Homo sapiens, the male version. This thing hanging there and chafing all day, every day, is really a terrible design defect, and one would think that if there really were a intelligent and merciful God, he would have fixed it. Well, here's news. The problem is fixed, and I'm not making any kind of supernatural claims because I think the idea of God is stupid, but feel free to draw your own inferences. If there really were a God, he would have solved this problem. Because I'm headed to Houston, I am really interested in talking to Senator Ted Cruz. I didn't watch much of his filibuster this week, but I did watch some of it, and what I saw was really good, and I thought it was nicely performed on his part, but I also thought it was brilliantly strategic in the way that he called out particular senators and particular states, the way that he used the kind of left's weaponry against the left in a very strategic way. And I would love to talk to Senator Cruz while I'm in Houston. Jim Pruitt has been campaigning to put me in front of him, and if there's anybody watching this who has access, I'm the right guy to talk to Senator Cruz right now. Put not your faith in princes, and I never do, and I understand that the guy is a Republican and that no doubt he's going to be a pandering Republican, and this will not be pleasing to me, but I can talk to him about the idea of egoism as I defend it in Man Alive and help him understand why that kind of ontologically consonant teleology, that kind of egoism, is what's needed right now, what we need more than anything else, what we need to survive. We are risking unlimited starvation, not just the kind of random slaughter that we can expect from Marxists when their theory fails yet again, but real famine as Western economies collapse under the weight of their idiot debt loads. Senator Cruz's filibuster was interesting to me, and I'd really love to see the video. I'd love to have a chance to talk about cutting the video, but it was just another great example of everything that the right gets wrong. I don't know what to call the right. I prefer to think of the people that I'm interested in as freedom seekers, the strong conservative Republicans, libertarians, anarcho-capitalists like me. These are people who are interested in economic and political freedom. And we are led, like it or not, we are led by the Republicans, and the Republicans are exceptionally good at alienating potential voters from their message. That if we imagine the Republican campaign for office as a bandwagon, then the bandwagon is covered with huge signs that promise scolding, chiseling, ignominious losses. John McCain is the perfect symbol of the Republican Party. He's like a villain out of Scooby-Doo. I'm John McCain, and don't get on my lawn. The people who are campaigning for freedom for individuals, the most important individual in my life being me, the people who are campaigning for freedom for individuals are not campaigning for freedom at all. They're not campaigning for anything. They're campaigning for anti-stuff, maybe anti-Marxism or cheaper Marxism. Cheaper Marxism with extra sneering. But they're not actually for anything. And I've been talking about this for a month now anyway, for longer than that, but really talking about a whole host of ideas that all center around the idea of evangelizing egoism. And I talked about the idea of comedy and art, that the comic plot, I was doing badly, I looked at my circumstances, I figured out what I was getting wrong, I learned better, I applied myself, And in the long run, over time, I won. That's the comic plot. That story makes people better, and so telling that story is definitely to the interest of anybody who's seeking freedom. But really, if you think about what a freedom-seeking movement might want, what would qualify as the victory condition? What would it look like when those people won, when they got what they actually wanted? What it would look like would be a pandemic universal middle class. That we don't want to forbid abortions. Some people want to forbid abortions, but really the desire is not to have abortions forbidden, but to have abortions not take place. That children being wise enough to avoid unwanted pregnancies and having the means in place to have the issue of unwanted pregnancies adopted into loving homes so that babies aren't being killed. We don't want to chisel people out of $39 million, which is nothing, $39 million in food stamps, which was the great Republican victory last week. We want people not to be on food stamps. We want them not to be on welfare. We want them not to be on disability. We want them to be gainfully employed in the private sector, producing sufficient income to feed themselves and their family, to provide for their long-term needs, to pay off their mortgage and provide for their retirement, and live lives of quiet splendor. And that's what we want. I mean, if you're seeking freedom, if you want freedom from your neighbors, you want for your neighbors to be like you. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. It's not so much that they need to emulate every little last detail of your character or habits, but you need to have much more in common than you have dividing you, and you each need to know how the other is going to behave in public. That whatever goes on inside your home is your business, and whatever goes on in your religion is your business. But as soon as you're outside your home, you're interacting with your neighbors, and the ideal circumstance for freedom-seeking people would be for everyone to be clean, quiet, safe, respectable, honest, upright, morally aware, morally ambitious people. Which is what you are. I mean, you're watching this. I know all about you. You are middle class. You have some kind of job that pays reasonably well. You pay your bills. You look after your house. You look after your yard. You're not a threat to anyone. You don't steal. You don't look for opportunities to steal. You certainly wouldn't ever think of desiring to inflict an injury on someone else, to punch them in the nose or kick them or kill them. You're not like that at all. And when you're around people who are like that, you're completely safe, and you know it. You're completely safe from them. That all of the things that you want from government, you can't get from government. You can't threaten people enough. You can't yell at them enough. You can't fine them or jail them enough to get them to do what you insist they must do instead of what they choose to do instead. And so the goal for freedom-seeking people is not to repeal this law or to limit this amount of spending or to lose ignominiously on national TV in any one of dozens of different ways. The goal for people who want freedom is to grow the middle class. This is the strategy that will make a difference in terms of political change. And I don't mean electoral politics, I mean actual day-to-day interactions among people. Is that we need to spend more time with each other and more time sharing our values with each other. Particular values like thrift and delaying pleasure, delaying gratification, saving money, guarding your reputation for integrity, understanding what it is that employers are looking for and why they fire people. This is all stuff that people who are now members of the middle class should be sharing with the members of the underclass. They should be talking about how to improve your life in every possible way, taking advantage of the things that people in the middle class already know, the things that they were lucky enough to learn growing up, that they had a middle class intact family. They learned how to do all of these things, how to manage their lives so appropriately. You need to share that. You need to pass that along to your neighbors. And this is the way that the members of the freedom-seeking class can take away all of those ugly images that the John McCains of the world put on the Republicans. I'm not interested in scolding you. I'm not interested in chiseling away what little you have to live on. I'm not interested in having a big public battle that I can't possibly win and losing ignominiously and being churlish about it afterward. No, to the contrary, I want to help you do better. I want to help you in your own life. You, a particular person that I know, someone who works with me, someone who works at the store next door to mine, someone who's on the street every day, someone that I see every day. I want to talk to you and talk to you about your values, about my values, and about how we might share information about how we're getting the job done so that each of us can get the job done better. And I don't want to assume any sort of noblesse oblige here. This is one of the things I don't like about Republicans. My mother didn't like it either. My mother was a lifelong Democrat, and she was aghast at my politics. But I am completely with her on this, that I think the whole idea of social distance is abhorrent, that in the United States, we are all equal. We all tromp through the same mud. And if you've got better boots than mine, I got better mud than yours. And so I don't believe that there's any kind of social distance in this, that there are all kinds of things that we can learn from each other. But until the freedom-seeking people who want liberty, who want more liberty, until they are teaching the underclass why it is that that desire is valid and valuable, and why the means by which we seek it is practicable, will produce the results that we want in the long run. Doing better as a process, doing better as a praxis, and helping people learn how to do better is how we'll all be better, how we'll all be better off. And if we can massively improve the human capital of the labor pool of the United States, we will solve the rest of the problem all by itself. And so I'm thinking in terms of things like Chautauqua, which don't exist anymore, but which were a wonderful idea, these public speeches, sort of like tent meetings, only tent meetings built around ideas rather than religion. Toastmasters, my God, what a wonderful organization. And wouldn't it be wonderful if every Toastmasters club started maybe 2 additional clubs, one devoted to helping adults move up in their ability to speak, and one devoted to helping kids learn to speak publicly. And, you know, my attitude is devote this attention to people who need the attention most, meaning the members of the welfare underclass, but I would restrict to nobody and make it available to anybody, and Dill will take the hindmost, because rewarding people's failure is how they have failed so magnificently so far. And if we want to help them attain a middle-class lifestyle, then that means holding people to middle-class standards. It doesn't mean relaxing the standards or forgiving failure or giving people an E for effort. All of that stuff is anathema to excellence. And the middle class is everyday expressions of joy, but the middle class is also everyday expressions of excellence. And what we need to do is to sell joy and to sell excellence, and to sell the joy that comes from pursuing excellence. And this is why I want to talk to Ted Cruz, because I want someone to sell this message. I want this to be not the Republican platform, but the protocol, the desiderata, the ideal way of the modus vivendi, the way that things are done among people who want freedom. The world will not change until people change. And so if you want freedom, you have to evangelize egoism. And the way you do it is by showing people why egoism, self-interest, produces the results they want. Sell joy and deliver it. And you'll win. Yes, you'll win. I'm in Houston from October the 6th to October the 26th. I want to speak. I want to talk. I want you to make a room available for me. I want you to get me in front of people. I've got a lot of different things I can talk about, but all of them ultimately are this one idea, evangelizing egoism. I want to show you how it's done. I want to get you started doing it. I want to get this nightmare over. And we can do that. All we have to do is change minds. That's all we have to do. Greg Swann, selfadoration.com. Bless you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.